Hey, what's up y'all? This is William, the Permaculture Consultant, and today I'm going to be taking you through the mindset behind chop and drop. Like, when is the right time to do it? How do you properly do it to your nitrogen fixing trees like this one right here? And does it apply to your fruit trees like that apple right there? So the first thing we need to address is like, what's the benefit of chop and drop? One of the benefits is that you're going to open up some of the canopy. So if you need sunlight to make it through and hit the ground, or to dry up some of the water, that's one of the benefits. Another main benefit is, and this is the reason I'm mostly doing it here today, is that as I cut back this nitrogen fixer, it's going to panic and it's going to send a ton of exudates down into the soil, which is just sugar, and it's going to feed the soil microbes. When that happens, not only does this tree benefit from those soil microbes, but this fig tree right next to it is also going to benefit from those soil microbes. So I'm going to go ahead and chop this one down and explain my thought process behind it as I do it. Now, I should also say the general rule behind chop and drop is to do it when your precipitation is higher than your evaporation. So like during your rainy season, basically. Now, it just rained for like the past 3 days, so this is a perfect time to go ahead and do my chop and drop. Now, you can coppice, which is down here at the bottom, or you can pollard, which is about chest to head height. The benefit of the coppice is that your animals have direct access to it, and you can, sorry, I thought somebody was pulling in the driveway. You can directly graze your animals on top of it and let them eat that tree fodder. Now this is on a swale, so I won't allow my animals direct access to the base of this. Also, if I do it this low, it'll get in the way of how close I can bring my portable electric netting to the swale. So whenever you cut it and you're wanting to keep the tree, keep in mind, wherever you cut, wrap your fist around that area and it's gonna spur a ton of growth in that area. So knowing that, I probably want to cut about this height, which is about eye level with me. So I'm going to take, let me put that down. I'm gonna go ahead and take this branch and this branch. Actually, no, I'm going to leave these two branches because they're providing, a good thing I caught myself and I thought about it for a second. I'm gonna leave these two branches because whenever they put on full leaves, they're gonna provide shade from that western angry sun on my fig trees. But I'm free to clear over here on this eastern side of the tree. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna do it here at this joint right here, and also at this joint right here. And then I'm also gonna take this guy off right here. Make sure, now this is a nitrogen fixing tree, so I'm not too concerned about its life. But if you're doing this on a fruit tree, if you're pruning, make sure you do a cut on the underside so that way when this branch falls off, it doesn't rip bark all the way down your tree. Now, if I had ruminants or animals on this property, then I could go ahead and feed this branch with all the leaves on it directly to those animals. So I have tree hay on basically the first harvest of this. If I didn't have any animals and if I had a place to store it, then I could hang it up and let it dry and feed it over the winter. This is a mimosa tree. It's safe to do it on a mimosa tree. There are some trees that you're not supposed to do that with. So before you go and do that, make sure you look up what kind of tree you're dealing with and whether or not it's okay to feed it to animals. I know cherry trees for sure are not okay. Not all nitrogen fixers are okay. Like your blue false indigo, that's definitely not okay to feed to your animals. Also, let me bring you in for a close-up here. Right here, you can see this collar around the tree. For best results, you want to do that within an inch, inch and a half, half inch to an inch of this healing collar. That way it's not too far for the healing collar to cover this up and heal, and it's not too close that you're actually damaging the healing collar. Hopefully you guys can see that pretty clearly. But yeah, back to it. And also keep in mind, like this is gonna pop off and fall. So make sure you don't have anything like you're worried about gonna like underneath it so it doesn't just land on it. And then I'm going to, actually, I'm gonna take this branch as well. And for those of you asking, this saw is not a silky, it's like it's called Wicked Wood Blade. I think I got it for like 15 bucks at Walmart, and it's not a bad saw. It stayed sharp, and I've been using it for a while. So there we go. We're gonna have a growth point from here, and we're gonna have a growth point from these two branches right here. Nothing else on this tree is really in the way, so I'm gonna leave everything else on it, and we're going to move on to the next one. Alrighty, now this right here is a pear tree, and it's gonna be kind of hard to identify because there's all this other crap growing around it. Now I'm gonna take this little, I don't even know what this is called, but it's a little hawkbill tool from Fisker. I'm gonna put my saw down, hang it on this tripod right here. And I'm gonna take this and I'm going to clear around the base. Now, I don't necessarily want this guy coming back, so I cut it off at the base, and I'm just gonna kick a little soil over it just to make sure its chances are pretty low on coming back and surviving. Now with this, like I said before, you can feed it directly to your animals. You can also strip it and use it as like a green mulch around your apple tree, and this will just break down, feed the soil organisms, and passively fertilize your tree. That's another possibility. Or you can dump it in the trench side of your swale, just like that, and let it decompose and provide shade in the trench side. Chop and drop also applies to some of the green varieties, green species that you have planted around your trees. So this right here is literally just chop and drop. I'm cutting what's around it and just letting it decompose around the base, and it's acting as a mulch. Now, this tree has that hardware cloth on it, so I'm gonna pull this stuff off. There we go. Now that part won't apply to every application, just this one, because we at first made the mistake of planting or putting hardware cloth around the base of the trees to get voles and stuff like that off of it. And then years later, Dad started making bone sauce. So whenever the rootstock shoots up through the hardware cloth, it makes it a nightmare to manage either. So we're gonna put these off to the side because there is hardware cloth attached to it. But now I'm going to go ahead and chop and drop my apple tree. Now over here at the bottom, you can see right here, this rootstock is growing up and it's greater than a third of this tree, but we're going to cut it anyway. Also has another branch right in there, you can kind of see, maybe a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna chop all that stuff off and we're going to cut it up into smaller pieces and apply it to the base of this tree, and it's gonna act like a little mulch layer. Now this tree is gonna have the same reaction that the nitrogen fixing tree I talked about over there is gonna have. It's gonna realize that, oh crap, something catastrophic, can't talk. Oh crap, something catastrophic happened. I need to go ahead and repair myself. In order to repair myself, I need these building blocks. So it shoots the exudates or sugar down into the soil and lets the microbes in there know that, hey, I need this, this, and this. In exchange, here's the sugar. Timing on this, like the difference between pruning your tree or coppicing your tree or whatever and killing your tree is the timing. If I were to do this in the dead of summer, it's already struggling. So don't put it through anything extra by do this during the summer. This is why you want to do this when your precipitation is higher than your evaporation. All right, now cutting this is going to be a little difficult without damaging the tree or the part that I want to keep. So hopefully this goes well. There we go. All right, so now that I have it in pieces, I'm going to cut this up and mulch the surrounding area of this tree with it. And it doesn't have to be anything pretty. Remember, you're just trying to feed the tree and the microbes. And unlike wood chip mulch, stacking it up against the base of this tree isn't going to cause it to grow roots and strangle the tree. So try to keep it like directly off the base, but it's not as bad of an idea, or it's not as detrimental as it would be with wood chip mulch. There we go. The tree provided its own mulch. There we go. Now, chop and drop applies to more than just the trees. For example, this is my perennial bed in the garden. Now in here, I've got strawberries growing, but this clover is growing up higher than the strawberries. So since it is still in the rainy season, I'm gonna go ahead and gently cut back some of this clover to reveal my strawberries underneath. Because right now they're kind of shading out these strawberries and not allowing them to get much sun. So I'm just creating, I'm basically on a smaller scale, I'm just opening up the canopy. Like I was talking about earlier with the fruit trees and the nitrogen fixers, how you're opening up the canopy to allow sun to come through. It's the same thing I'm doing on a smaller scale. There, you can see my strawberry now, which some of the strawberries have actually gone, mushy, and that might be because they haven't been airing out well enough because of the moisture that the comfrey is, or not the comfrey, that the, what's it called? Clover is retaining, which is a good thing, and it's going to be a good thing in the summer when it starts getting a lot hotter and a lot drier. So I don't want to completely wipe out my clover. I just want my strawberries to have a little bit more access to the sun. And this tool right here is a little bit overkill for the job, but I don't have any rice knives on me at the moment, so I will have to remedy that. And this is doing the same exact thing, the clover, and this is what's happening with your grass as well. Whenever you graze correctly, you're cutting off the tops of these plants. You're still keeping the plant, you're just cutting off the tops. So instead of them focusing on creating seed and repopulating or reproducing, they're now going back into a vegetative state, and they're going to continue to push sugars down into the soil and regrow the plant that you just cut down. And like I said, timing is so doggone important when it comes to this. If you do this in the wrong season, you just killed everything. So make sure you're doing it when your precipitation is higher than your evaporation. And I don't mean like some one-off event like, oh, we got a random downpour during our dry season. I don't mean that. That's not necessarily a good time to go and chop and drop. But during your typically wet season, preferably right before rain is when you want to do this. But I didn't do it right before rain because I just frankly ran out of time and did not make it that high of a priority. But right after a rain event is good as well. Make sure you don't chop and drop your strawberries. I didn't know I had one planted here, and I just cut the tops off of it off. So that is a downside, keep that in mind. Oh look, that strawberry will be ready in about 2 days. I said, oh look, sorry guys, you guys can't really see from over there. There we go. I just chopped and dropped the garden. Now, there aren't really any other applications around here where I would use chop and drop right now. Now, chop and drop is famous, or comfrey I should say, is famous for its chop and drop capabilities. Once you have comfrey established, which I would say this plant is, considering it's been around since the beginning of Permapastures Farm, this would be a safe one to chop and drop. Now I'm saving all the comfrey for the pigs whenever they hit the property. Right now they're at my father-in-law's. All right, y'all, I hope this video was helpful and hopefully helped demystify the whole chop and drop technique that's talked about all the time in permaculture videos. I think it's one of those techniques that everybody just assumes everybody knows what you're talking about. But for everybody who's new to chop and drop, this is a completely new idea and new technique to use. But it's definitely one of the most powerful permaculture techniques you can use for sure. is chop and drop at the right time. Timing is everything, and that's what sets permaculture apart from a lot of other landscape design techniques, is time, using time to your advantage, and also designing and planting with using, time in mind. And what is this going to look like in 4 years after I walk away, type thing. So if anybody needs any consultations, hit the links down below. If you need any questions answered, then comment down below with the hashtag permaculture Q&A at the beginning of your comment. That way I don't miss it, and hopefully it'll be in a future video. I do have quite a few of those coming up in the works. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, we will see you.